Let's talk about something humanity has dreamed about forever. What if we could just press pause on getting older? I'm not talking about just living longer. I mean actually stopping the aging process cold. It's a wild idea, so let's really dive in and see what that world might actually look like.
Just for a second, let's do a little thought experiment. Just imagine, what if?
And I mean really, truly, forever. No finish line. Your life just keeps going. A story that never has to have a final page. And what if you could do all that while you're still in your prime? No wrinkles, no aches and pains, just your body frozen at its peak. It sounds like an absolute paradise, right? Well, as we're about to find out, this ultimate fantasy might come with some pretty ultimate consequences. Okay, so first things first, let's look at the amazing side of all this. I mean, initially, figuring out how to stop aging would feel like we'd kicked off a golden age for all of humanity. And to get why, we need a super quick look at what aging even is. See, the thing to remember is that aging isn't just about getting gray hair. At its core, it's really a buildup of tiny bits of damage. Every time your cells divide, these little protective caps on your chromosomes, they're called telomeres, they get just a little bit shorter. And over decades, you get these zombie cells that hang around, causing problems. It's this slow, quiet accumulation of damage that we actually feel as getting old. So if we could stop that, wow, everything would change. And honestly, for a while, it would be nothing short of a miracle. Can you imagine a world where your parents, your grandparents, your friends, they never grow frail? Where all those diseases we link with old age, heart disease, Alzheimer's, you name it, they just disappear. That deep-seated fear of our bodies just failing us would be totally gone. This really spells out the new reality, doesn't it? People would stay young and healthy basically forever. The entire field of medicine would be turned upside down, and how long you're expected to live, that number wouldn't even mean anything anymore. Humanity would step into a completely new chapter. But every utopia has its dark side. And this is where that beautiful dream starts to show some serious cracks. Because when you get rid of one of life's most basic rules, the fact that it ends, you accidentally create a whole bunch of massive new problems. Let's start with the most obvious one, right? Population. If people stop dying of old age, our global population isn't just going to grow, it's going to explode. We're already pushing past 8 billion people. Now imagine that number never really goes down. It only ever goes up. And here's the scale of that problem laid bare. The demand for literally everything, food, water, a place to live, energy, it would just skyrocket. But the planet's supply, that's not growing. The world would start to feel very, very crowded, very, very quickly. This kind of resource crunch would create huge issues in society. I mean, think about your job. If nobody ever retires, what happens to the career ladder? It just vanishes. All the power and influence would stay with the same exact people for hundreds of years. So if you're a young person, how do you ever move up? The entire idea of progress, of new generations bringing fresh ideas, it kind of grinds to a halt. And even beyond all the practical problems, there's the mental side of it. The human brain just wasn't designed for eternity. Can you imagine the sheer mental exhaustion, the absolutely crushing boredom after a few hundred years? If you have forever to do something, there's no urgency, no reason to do it now. Your sense of purpose could just fade away. You have to wonder if, after a few centuries, the act of living would just lose its magic. The endless repetition, it could feel less like a gift and more like a cage. Immortality might start to feel like the exact opposite of being alive. So now we land on what might be the biggest, thorniest question in this whole scenario. Who even gets to be ageless? Because you can bet this kind of technology wouldn't be for everyone, at least not at first. And that would create the most extreme inequality we've ever seen. You'd basically split humanity into two different species. You'd have the ageless, an elite group whose money and power would become permanent, eternal. And then you'd have everyone else, the mortals, left behind to live and die naturally. The gap between the haves and have-nots wouldn't just be about money anymore. It would be written into our biology. And, let's be realistic about who would get their hands on this. A scientific breakthrough this huge would be unbelievably expensive. It would almost certainly be reserved for the absolute wealthiest people on the planet, creating a world divided by the one resource you can't earn back, time itself. All of this, it kind of forces us to step back and ask a much deeper question. We've spent all this time wondering how we could stop aging, But maybe we should be asking why we age at all. What if getting old isn't a bug? What if it's not some mistake in our code that we need to fix, but is actually a fundamental, even necessary part of what makes us human? Maybe it's there for a reason we tend to ignore. Seriously, think about it. Knowing that our time here is finite is what gives life its urgency, its meaning. It's the reason we try to learn new things, to create art, to fall in love, to make a difference. Our mortality, that deadline, is our greatest motivator. It forces us to appreciate every single moment we have. And that leaves us with this one final, really haunting question. If you take away the end of the story, do you also take away the meaning of the story itself? What's a single day worth when you have an infinite number of them stretching out in front of you? So after going through all the incredible highs and the pretty terrifying lows, the question really comes back to you. If you had the choice right now, would you take it? Would you choose to stop aging? I'd love to know what you think, so drop a comment below. And hey, if this explainer got you thinking, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps. And for more deep dives into some of life's biggest what-if questions, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching.